Expectations, or to be more specific, natural expectations. Everyone has them, and when they're violated, we usually tense up and act kinda awkward. Like when someone you don't know stands way too close to you. Yeah, awkward. Or first interactions between someone with a disability and someone without. It can be awkward for both people because each have their own expectations that aren't being fulfilled. About 15% of the population has a disability, which means you'll likely have at least one instance come up. So, how can those situations become less awkward? Let's explore that question by getting to know a few people. Lindsay is working on her associate's degree and plans to go into either psychology or architecture. She works at a resort full time in housekeeping. She also has Tourette's syndrome, which is a neurological disorder that causes you to have an involuntary vocal and motor action. Elena is a graphic design major with a goal towards marketing design. She was born with one finger on each hand, which has been sporadically passed through generations in her family. Kelsey has a double major in theater arts education and sociology. She was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder. To quote her, "It is living life in an extremely heightened emotional state." Liz is a theater major and loves all things related to performing arts. She has bipolar disorder. Contrary to popular belief, it is not happy and sad, but manic and depressive states that are uncontrollable.
So when I meet people, I expect them to treat me how they would any other normal person and to treat me appropriately in whatever situation I'm in. I try and be nice to, I like to think I'm a nice person. I like to think I'm fun to be around, and I try and express that, and I hope to receive that back. And it can get really frustrating when I am nice to a person right off the bat and they're just mean to me right off the bat. I don't get that, and it can get a little discouraging, but you just move on with life. I don't know.
If someone who had liver disease told you, "I have liver disease," you wouldn't say, "Whoa, like, I don't think I can be your friend anymore." You know? You would say, "Oh, wow. Well, tell me about that. How can I help you? What's your life like? Let's hang out on the weekend like we were planning to anyway." You know?
So, I most of the time I feel like I do get treated like others. I feel like people are genuinely nice to me and things like that. However, there are other disabilities associated with Tourette's that cause a bigger problem. And those disabilities are things such as OCD, ADD, and there are a number of other things that people can have which is associated with having Tourette's. So I have OCD and ADHD. Those are other things that I have. And plus the anxiety tied into that, it causes a lot of problems in social interactions. And that socially, I have struggled, and I've had a really difficult time making close friends and keeping them.
Well, when you meet people, like what we do in society, you go and shake hands, right? Most people hide their surprise, I guess, really well. But there's always those like few cases where someone will like reach their hand back really fast. And that's probably the one that's like hurts the most, I guess. But I have had some times where people say, "What? You have borderline? You're so positive. You're so happy." And I'm that way because I choose to be. I choose to be happy. I choose to put a smile on my face during the day because this life is awesome. And I don't like to just walk around all day long complaining.
Yeah, I am self-conscious at times, especially when I am going on maybe dates. Another thing that I have when I get anxious or nervous is I shake a lot. And so I shake all the time anyway, but my hands don't stay steady and I look like a person who needs a cigarette or a person who is really, really nervous. And, you know, even though I may not be extremely nervous, I still shake. And that's really embarrassing, especially if you're on a, you know, dinner date or something and you're trying to pick up a glass of water and you're shaking and the ice is clinking in the glass. You're like, stop. So it can be difficult. It can be embarrassing. And, you know, you want to appear what people call normal. You don't want people to, you know, be like, why is she so nervous, you know? And then you have to go into a long explanation. Oh, I have Tourette's, and then people don't understand what it is, and then you have to explain more, and it is harder because, you know, you don't want people to get the wrong idea because you want to be approved of.
Filtering what I say, filtering the facial expressions I make, filtering how I move, what I wear, just monitoring myself to be normal. I don't think anyone's normal. But there is this societal box of like, this is acceptable and this is not.
Like I had an employer recently who just assumed I couldn't do anything ever, and it was really frustrating. I mean, it was retail. I mean, like how hard is that? I mean, it's customer service. I just talk to people constantly, you know, and she just assumed that there was so much that I couldn't do, and it was really frustrating. And I had to tell her all the time that yes, I can change that light bulb. Yes, I can like restock the shelves. Yes, I can. I mean, do basic things on the job, you know, and it got really frustrating. And so, yeah, there are some people that I feel like I have to really prove myself just to be on the same playing field as everybody else. And then
Now that we know what usually happens from one point of view, let's talk to a couple people that don't have a disability to get their view. Stephen is an accounting major and is working as an internal auditor. When he was a teenager, his best friend's dad had multiple sclerosis. That interaction shaped the way he now interacts with people that have a disability. Kreslin is going into public relations. Her mom's aunt has Down syndrome, so she learned as a child to treat everyone equally, but she still had inhibitions because she could only think about how hard it may be to have a disability. When she became close friends with someone with muscular dystrophy, it changed her perceptions.
I really like to listen. I really like to see, kind of like feel it out and feel how they interact with other people. I like to just watch and see how they interact with their close friends, how they interact with other people around them, and kind of let them paint the story. And I really try hard not to go in with any pre-thought dispositions on how they want to be treated. Just trying to observe them with their friends and trying to observe how close acquaintances and close friends treat each other in that atmosphere, and just try to mold it after that.
Say I watch my own interactions. I make sure that rather than looking at their disability first, I look at them as a person. And whenever before, if I was like on a bus or on an elevator with someone with a disability, I probably wouldn't make a point to say something to them. But now I actually purposefully try to make a point to say something to them because I see how other people have the same hesitations that I used to have. And now that I'm over them, and now that I see that, we're all just trying to get by in life in our own ways, and we all have our own struggles, it's a lot easier to be able to talk to someone with a disability because life is hard for each of us in our own ways. She is a really close friend to me, and I am more inspired by what she does, and happy that she was able to show me that I don't need to see them as like someone with a disability. I can just see them as like a normal person and be able to talk to them about their lives and what they've gone through without even needing to go there.
I guess the best way to help them is to just ask them how they would like to be treated in the same situation. If they had the same scenarios, and if their roles were just reversed, would they want to be treated like it was something that was hanging over his head, or his or her head the whole time? Or if they wanted to just be treated the same, just be valued for who they are. And so I think if everyone realizes that everyone just wants to be treated, it's the golden rule. I think a good comparison of this would be, I guess, talking to a person from a different culture or living in a different culture. I served a LDS mission. I went down to Uruguay, and people there are a lot different from people here. Just in upbringing, in culture, and just how they live their lives. It's a different feel. It's a different area. But the basis is the same. They don't want to be treated any differently. They don't want to be treated like we feel like they should be treated, or how any pre-thought notion of how people should treat other people in those areas should be treated. It's people just want to know that they're valued and that what they bring to the table is something of worth to other people.
Hi, I'm Amanda Holman, the producer of this film. I hope that this has helped you to see that it doesn't have to be awkward. Whether you have a disability or not, just be patient when you're interacting with each other. Remember that everyone is going through their own struggles, so just think about how you would act if you were in their shoes. Don't be afraid to politely express your concerns or feelings, because most people are happy to work with you.